In this video discussion, I would like to talk about the North Node and South Node, particularly North Node in Scorpio and South Node in Taurus. Now, this is going to be a detailed video because I personally have my North Node and South Node in Scorpio and Taurus. So I'm going to express to you all how my North Node, how it is guiding me, and how my South Node has helped me to heal past lives and has helped me to recognize my tendencies for clearing, as well as how they both have helped me to move into a new cycle of self-expression. So, your North Node and South Node, the reason it's important to discover, to meditate upon, to reflect on, because they represent your totality. So your South Node is your past lives, the lessons that you've learned, what you've worked on, what you were cultivating in your previous incarnations, in your emotions, your intelligence, your physical, sensual sexuality. It represents the energy that is most prominent in your life cycle, because it represents the life cycle. So what you've been cycling through, like we all have chakras that we cycle through when it comes to self-expression. We also have zodiacs that we cycle through. But just because we cycle through, let's say, South Node in Taurus in our previous incarnations, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are just this Taurus energy. We are this unique configuration of light, and with that unique configuration of light, we have energies such as like Aries or Gemini or Pisces that we have maybe mastered, or our gifts and talents, our strengths, and they very much make up our energy field, so they go with us into these cycles of self-expression. And there are 12 zodiacs, and we do cycle through them all. And the reason why the North Node and South Node are very much opposites in the zodiac, such as Scorpio, and then if you look at the wheel, Taurus is directly opposite, it's because it gives us the balance in the expression. So when we have that Taurus expression, we cycle through that, then we cycle into the Scorpio, and it's like we have all of these crossing lines, these angles. And that ultimately, angles, even in yoga, even in meditation, it's what really enlightens us. It's like lightning is angles. When you think of a bolt of lightning, it's not just a straight line. There is these really sharp angles to lightning, light itself. A lot of times we think of even light as this just stream of energy, like a river, but light is very much these angles within angles that it travels through, because as we know, through angles, light actually travels faster than just these straight lines that we perceive when we look at a rainbow or look at a ray of light, because we see through the linear perception or sense. So with the North Node, so we talked about the South Node and it being representing your past lives, your cycle of self-expression. So it's the filter. You're filtering through the Taurus energy, just like some of us, we filter our gifts through a particular chakra, and you could see it in your aura. For example, I filter a lot of my creative gifts through the navel point, which is the second chakra. So when you look at my aura, I have a lot of orange that's kind of moved up to the heart. So I have orange like really in this heart area because I channel my heart expression, my divinity, through that navel point, that orange filter. my gifts and talents, and yours may be different. You may filter through the pineal glands. You may have this purple energy or this blue energy, or you may have a combination of energies that you're filtering through. So we're all different in the way we channel our divine light or our divine gifts and strengths in this particular incarnation. And it all depends on really our past lives and what we've opened and activated within our body. When the angles of our light, they hit us in certain ways, it really opens certain channels, and we tend to channel our divine light through our biggest outlet, our biggest channel, our biggest, you could say, like tunnel. And mine happens to be the navel, because that's what I've cultivated. And Taurus has helped me in past lives, because Taurus is very much about the navel. It represents the throat chakra, but Taurus is Earth sign. Taurus is, I like to say, one of the deepest rooted trees. And Taurus has wisdom, but it has this quiet, subtle wisdom. Not like wisdom of, you could say, like a Gemini who's very innovative and very expressive and knows how to communicate concisely the ancient wisdom that it's learned or mastered through its innovative thinking. Taurus is very much like a tree. They have great wisdom, but it's very quiet. It's not expressive in the way of, you could say, like the Gemini or even the Pisces energy. Pisces being very artistic and very very colorful and bright. Taurus is just like the earth. It can seem very basic, it can seem very simple, but yet there's great depth, because Taurus is one of the deepest rooted trees. So in past incarnations, the lessons would very much be consistency, dedication. Taurus is also very reliable and responsible. So Taurus could very much be masterful at completing things, such as projects, which I'm very good at. Meaning they see it through. They're not just going to do something and then move on to something else. They're going to see it through. So they're very reliable. Very organized in their ability to go through the process of life. They are not so much about, let me get to this destination, let me master each process leading up to it so that I can be very masterful and I can have a great understanding of each of these stages or phases towards my goal. Okay. And they also, in previous incarnations, were really good at business, very good at business, and understanding the many facets and parts that involve business, because they're very detailed persons. So they can see through many perspectives when it comes to business, such as you have the boss and you have the employer. So they're very good at taking an idea that might not necessarily be their own. It could be a friend, because Taurus also is like working with others. They very much know how to work with others. So they can get an idea from someone who maybe is more like Aquarius, or could even be a Gemini, or some energy that's quite visionary, and they know how to almost take it apart, look at its many details, and through looking at its many details can really come up with a plan, a practical plan on how to give this to the public in a way that everybody can relate to it. So they have this ability of creating a business that can reach pretty much everyone, every every level of income, such as the high class and the low class, because they just have this ability of seeing through the many perspectives of all kinds of people that make up a business. It's not just one perspective. There's many facets, and they know how to dissect, and they know how to look at the details, because that's what they love. Because in order to complete a project, it's very much not just completing, let me just complete it. It's like really examining all of its parts to really get to be masterful at each of those parts, so you can really understand what you're creating and what your final project is. So it's not the final project, it's looking at the details, the little details, to really see, is this the project that I really want to create? So the Taurus, for myself, I have this natural, just earthy and grounded energy, very practical. In my unique configuration of light, I have a lot of Gemini, I have a lot of Pisces, and I have this Aries energy, which can be very much kind of, in this higher dimensional state, can not be as grounded as earthy. But Taurus, I only have one earth energy in my whole astrological chart, but that one earth energy is very important because it's in the south node, and that means that my totality was pretty much filtering through Taurus. So whenever I used my talent or a gift, it was coming through that Taurus wheel, which is, you're really rooted, because those roots are the deepest in all of the zodiacs. So Taurus has this music ability, and they use the music ability to help them be present in the moment and help others be present. So when you see like a Taurus, singer, singing is totally Taurus, because singing, it may appear or seem like it's bringing us to a higher dimensional state. When we listen to mantra music or really elevated music, we feel like we're going to like ancient Lemuria or ancient Atlantis, like we feel really good. But really, we're going deeper into the earth. So that really good feeling is like similar to like drinking tea. You feel like you are inside the earth, deep inside the earth. And that's one of Taurus's gifts, is having the ability to really bring people deep inside the earth, where they can have this really warm, loving feeling, like being in the womb of a mother, but they're in the womb inside of the earth. So for myself, I have this music ability, and it's very much from this Taurus energy, this Taurus gift of having a really kind of open throat chakra. But that open throat chakra is very much surrounded with this earthy, almost dirt energy, like soil, the nutrition, the vitality of soil. So it's very much the hum. Taurus has like a little hum to its energy, and that hum is like, it really brings us back into our center. So one mastery for Taurus, as many masteries, is being really grounded in your center. That's a mastery, really grounded in your center, which is your heart energy. So now I'm going to get into North Node in Scorpio. Scorpio is a very mysterious energy to me, and Scorpio represents the subconscious. So North Node is your cycle of change you're having in this incarnation and other incarnations, because it's not just one, we're not just in North Node for 50, 60 years and then we die and then we go into another cycle. A lot of times we're in it could even be for a whole age, which is like 5,000 years plus or minus. Okay, so that encompasses many lifetimes. And all for the purpose of really mastering the many facets of that placement, okay, of that placement, because there's many dimensions to Scorpio, as there are many dimensions to Taurus, that we travel through to get an overall dynamic view of what it means to filter energy through the Taurus and through the Scorpio. So Scorpio is the scientist of the subconscious, and that's what Scorpio is very mysterious, because it has to do with the subconscious. It has to do with the energy below the surface, but not just below the surface, really deep, like the abyss energy, that dark abyss. And Scorpio also represents the shadows, the dark side of humanity. Okay, that's why it's kind of deep in the abyss, because we suppress that a lot, the darkness, as suppression is the subconscious. Whatever we suppress, it, in a conscious, we make the intention, I would like to suppress this conscious thought or this conscious fear. It just goes into the subconscious. It's there, but it just doesn't really, we don't really hear it, see it, or think about it anymore. It just kind of hangs out in there. So having this unique placement, what I've discovered for my own life purpose is taking the singing ability of Taurus, which is a mastery of mine coming out of South Node Taurus, the music ability of Taurus, and using that very grounded, earthy ability to bring people into their center, into their heart, and helping them to really root themselves deep. I am using that ability to clear and shake up the subconscious. So that's when we get into the connection between South Node and North Node. Now, your understanding of your placement may be different, because, like I said, there are many dimensions, and there are many people on this planet who have that placement. And it doesn't mean they're all going to be doing the same thing, because there's many angles of light in which you can penetrate that placement. Many. That depends on also your other elements, because we all have a unique configuration of light that is made from the energies we've transmuted and absorbed from our many lifetimes cycling through all the zodiacs. So my configuration, Aries, Gemini, Pisces, very strong and influential in my light energy, my subtle body energy. So that's really going to influence my unique purpose in this placement, okay, depending on my strengths and my gifts cultivated. So that's what I discovered for myself in my purpose, and how North Node and South Node has helped me to really discover that. So Scorpio, it also has to do with organization of the subconscious, has to do with clearing, and has to do with purging. So when we think of Scorpio, we think of purging a lot. So any debris, any toxicities, any fears, any just doubts, or just negative energy that's just lingering in the subconscious, we organize it, we file it, and we purge it out. So that's a part of the purpose of Scorpio North Node, is purging out any fear. It's about facing fear in the subconscious, having a gift of being able to face fear in the subconscious. But not only face fear in the subconscious, it's learning how to transmutate that fear into higher wisdom. That's one of the masteries and the gifts for Scorpio, because Scorpio is also spirituality, spiritual depth, but spirituality that is not Satnam, some high up in the high dimensions of, some very peaceful, harmonious, everything is good kind of energy. It's very much the polarity, understanding the polarity of the planet and how to emerge the polarity so that there's balance. So we're not up in, and then all of a sudden a fear comes up, and then we're just like, we don't know what to do with ourselves. So it's helping people. One of the lessons or the purpose of Scorpio is helping people to know how to manage their fears and know how to like deal with them, know how to handle them, and when it comes up, what to do. So that's why Scorpio North nodes have this psychology or being a therapist, because part of their lesson is knowing how to help people help themselves when it comes to their fears that they just don't know. It keeps coming again and again subconsciously in dreams, and they just don't know how to like handle it. They don't know what to do, how to transmute or how to purge that thing. So the Scorpio would also be really good at self-hypnosis, because their voice, coming from being in the cycle of Scorpio, just their very voice would help people to really get inside that subconscious and really clear out house. I like to say, clear out the basement that hoards all the stuff that we just couldn't handle at the time we experienced, but must be clear for us to really feel free. Okay? When we have junk in our basement, we can feel it in our house, because everything is feng shui, everything is energy. And even if it's in view or it's out of view, such as in our basement, it affects the whole vibratory field of the house. So people who have a very clean upstairs, but then the downstairs is just trash, junky, it's going to affect the feng shui energy, the vortex of the upstairs level, because everything is this nice vortex. And when there's pockets that are dirty, that are heavy, it's going to affect the tranquility and the movement, the flow of that vibratory field. So very much like the subconscious in Scorpio energy, when the surface, the conscious level may be clean and clear, okay, meaning like very feng shui and everything's organized and neat and clean. If there is subconscious like junk or debris, it's going to affect the whole vibratory field. Either a person is aware of it or not. So Scorpio North Node is first, it has to do with one's own subconscious, because one's own subconscious is also connected to the collective consciousness, which is dreams. When we connect with dreams, they're all weird. They're like, whoa, it doesn't make sense how these objects or scenarios can happen, because it doesn't seem rational and it doesn't seem possible or practical when we look at it from the perspective of our matrix and how things work. But that's the subconscious pouring into the collective subconscious. So you may have dreams of things you've never seen, movies you've never seen, but it's because you're connecting with the collective consciousness. So when you're in a deep dream, your subconscious, it kind of pours into the collective subconscious, kind of like Niagara Falls. There's all these waters pouring into just one big mass of water, and that's a powerful energy. Niagara Falls, very powerful, and that's like the subconscious when we dream and we pour into the collective subconscious. So being a scientist of one's own subconscious helps the Scorpio to, when they know how to master their own fears, their own kind of weirdness and their own internal neurosis, that's how they're able to help others. So Scorpio is about self-mastery of one's own subconscious and their own shadows, and gifting what they've learned about themselves to others. So it's very much not a therapist or psychologist who's done no subconscious work on themselves and giving advice to somebody who wants to clear their subconscious. It's a therapist who has done a lot of work, a lot of scientific research on themselves, and giving advice from a perspective of, this is kind of what I did for myself, kind of thing. So trying to think if there's anything else I would like to give you all. Again, everything is angles. And there are really infinite angles that can penetrate Scorpio and Taurus, and it all depends on your unique configuration of light, and that made up by the zodiac energies. That is your energy field. So it's a tip towards discovering your past lives and discovering your life purpose energy is becoming, I don't even know what I'm going to say. I would say listen to yourself. A lot of times we go out and we read these books, or we get these psychic readings, we get these maps. But what I've discovered when I'm listening to myself, or when I'm really quiet, intuitively it just comes. And that's a very important life lesson for every zodiac, for every placement, for every configuration of light on this planet, is intuition. That's probably the greatest mastery. Intuition, it helps you to just smoothly transition from like south node to north node. It helps you to smoothly transition into anything, really. Becoming the builder to becoming the scientist, becoming the sailor, becoming the farmer. Intuition helps you to make that smooth transition, and helps you to really just be clean and clear when it comes to subconscious, when it comes to conscious level. And it's through listening, it's through receptivity, is how I discovered the feelings, the signs, the little nudges that really were that helped me to unfold naturally in my own unique expression of change in this particular incarnation. So if we don't know necessarily kind of our purpose or our past lives, or our essence and our soul energy, it is to strengthen your intuition. Most important, to strengthen your intuition, because your intuition is not just your pineal gland or your crown chakra. Your intuition is in all of your chakra systems. Your ability to create, which is also discernment, which is the navel point, discernment. Being able to overcome fear, the root chakra, intuition is there too. It helps all of the chakras to be its most luminous and bright energy vortex. And it's all because we decide to listen to our body, listen to our chakras, listen to our subconscious, listen to our conscious, with this receptivity to change, with this receptivity of love, because that's what intuition is. It is just love of the dark, love of the light, love of the suppressed thing, love of the denied thing, love of the fearing thing. And intuition, that love, unconditional love, ultimately helps us to unfold in a way where we trust the process, in a way that we surrender to the process, in a way that we are peaceful and joyous to receive these many, many things within us, the dark and the light, without judgment, without criticism, without anger, without... That's intuition. It is this non-attachment. It is simply like mindfulness. It's simply just being observant of what needs to be done, what needs to be said on an intuition level, and being receptive enough to just, okay, all is well. I'm going to do this because my intuition is asking me. I feel it because I'm listening. So that's all the guidance I would like to give on this unique placement. So thank you for watching, and namaste.